Evening everybody. So following on from my recent video of my first impressions of my new Street Triple RS, I thought I'd do a short video on some of the points that I found that I dislike about the bike. These may seem super critical because, like most modern bikes, they are very difficult to fault, so I have been really sort of pernickety about the things that I don't like, and I'll do a separate video on the things that I do like. But I just thought I'd share these with you. Anybody that's got one of these, be good to get your thoughts if you agree, or find if there's anything else that you don't particularly like. But yeah, so what I'll do is they're in no particular order, and there shouldn't be too many. So the first one that is a bugbear of mine, and it's not just this model, my 2014 Daytona 675R had the same problem, and it's the rear foot rests. A lot of bikes, or majority of bikes I've had, the footrest hangers, they screw on externally, so it's easy to remove if you want to take the pegs off, especially if you've got a rear seat hump like Triumph give you, make a nice cleaner look. Unfortunately with Triumph, the only way to get the pegs off is you have to take off the seat, remove the battery, or lift it out and get somebody to hold it and unscrew from there. So it's not just a 2-minute take on, take off wherever you want to. So yeah, that's a little bit disappointing from Triumph that they haven't made it easier to remove the rear foot pegs. Next one is the TFT. It's switched off at the moment, but I've got a few bikes with TFTs, KTMs, and I've got another bike which is a BMW with their 6.5-inch TFT, and the clarity on the BMW one is night and day compared to the Triumph one. It's clear, but the digits are very small. The rev counter, the way it operates, it's very difficult to quickly look and see what revs you're doing. You just rely on listening to the engine, or you toggle through the switches and through the menu rather, and have the revs appearing at the top of the screen in digital format. So yeah, it's got quite a bit of information, but it's not the easiest to read, especially when on the move and you want to have a quick look down and have a look at it. So that's something else that I'm not a great fan of. Next one, the fuel gauge. It does its usual Triumph thing of being slow to go up to full, but it's dropping down to telling me that I've got 2 bars of fuel and 35 miles of range, and yet I'll fill the bike up even sat on the bike, so it's upright, fully brimming it, and I'm only getting just on 10 litres in, which is telling me that this is a 17.4 litre tank, so I've got over 7 litres left in the tank, which when you're averaging 48 to the gallon, that's a UK gallon, that's done something more than 35 miles. So it does seem rather under optimistic, the fuel gauge, which you do have to play a bit of fuel gauge roulette, and if you do, you'll find you just keep going and you can get some decent range before you need to fill up. But yeah, it doesn't seem extremely accurate. What am I looking at next that I don't particularly like, or not that I don't particularly like, that I've got a niggle with? Yeah, so the next thing that's a little bit of a niggle, especially in the UK where even in the spring and autumn time it's still relatively cold, is that heated grips are an option on this, but it's a £210 plus fitted option, which I think is a lot of money for a set of heated grips. Yes, they're nicely integrated, but coming in the UK it should be part of standard spec. I haven't gone for it on this one, it's my second bike, so through the winter I'll tend to ride the other one, and I have got some heated gloves that I will use if I'm riding this. But yeah, it just seems a little bit on the expensive side, especially for the top of the range RS model. You'd think that they could chuck that on as part and parcel of it. And the final thing that is a bit of a niggle on this is when you want to put the rear passenger seat on. I've got there's cowl on at the moment, and you get both the cowl and the seat, which is one of the positives with this bike. You don't have to pay extra for the other, but the seat is very difficult to get it to engage. I've found I've had to remove the rubber bungs that sit under it to make it engage, and then when you trying to unlock it, you've really got to push down on the seat to be able to get the key to turn. First time I put the seat on and tried it, it took me a good 2-3 minutes of pushing down on the seat before I could finally get the key to turn to release it. Yeah, so it's, and again, that's not just this model. I had the same with my 675 Daytona R back in 2014. Found that rear seat, you push it and you think it was on, it hadn't clicked in place. So, and I've heard of other people thinking seats have clicked in with a knot and seats gone flying off as they've ridden down the road. So yeah, when you're putting on the seat or putting on the rear cowl, make sure it does click in place, because whilst it might look that it's seated properly, if it hasn't clicked, there's a good chance it hasn't, and it will pop off. So apart from that, oh no, one other slight niggle, they kindly fit this with a USB socket, which is really good of them, and then they stick it under the rear seat stroke hump, and it's a fixed socket, which means that you've either got to leave your phone under the hump charging, or you've got to have a wire running out down to your pocket or wherever you've got your phone kept, which in this case I keep my phone on the quad lock mount at the front. So what I've done to get around that is I've fitted a USB cable. It's one of the Optimate cables that just plugs straight into the Optimate charging wire, which is sat under the rear hump, and that just powers up whenever I need it to. So they're my negative points. That's all I can think of. Hope you found it of interest. If you did, please leave a thumbs up, like and subscribe if you want to see more content. But for now, that's it. Thanks, bye.